Excellent. Welcome to the Comedy Hostel Podcast. This is episode 3. Just want to introduce the man behind the Mac who puts this show together, Mr. Reese Turner.
What's up?
Not too much. And our co-host this week, we're going to get to him in a second. Our guest this week is Kristen Sarah. She is a travel vlogger. Met her at a big travel blogger conference known as TBEX. We'll talk about that later. And my co-host for this week is Montreal stand-up comic Scott Carter. Scott, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. And I just realized I forgot to introduce myself because I'm still new to doing this. My name is Jon Selig, local stand-up comic, host of this podcast. And every week we talk about travel, comedy, and marry the two together and see what kind of magical comedy, hilarious babies they can produce.
Travel comedy?
That's it. There you go. How's it going?
It's, sticky, wet. Just
any particular reason why it's sticky, wet, or just one of those things?
Just glandular. No, it's
glandular.
It's really warm out. It's I think it's like 39 degrees out.
With the Humidex or without the Humidex?
With the Humidex.
Yeah, okay. It's pretty hot is what we're trying to say here. But it's a nice day and we're thankful for it because coming off a lot of rain lately and summer in Montreal is here, so we're all excited about that, correct?
Oh, it's a fantastic time to be in the city.
What's your story? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Kelowna, British Columbia. I moved out here because I had a job. It's one of those things where someone's like, hey, do you want a job? And I'm like, I'm unemployed. Let's go to Montreal. And here I am.
How'd that work out?
Still employed.
Still unemployed or still employed?
Still employed.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's encouraging for all those people who'd like to be employed in the future.
I'm a 2-year employee.
Excellent. How long you doing?
I've stayed at the job.
How long are you doing comedy?
Around the same amount of time, 2 years.
Okay. And how's it moving? Is it
It's
going?
it lulled for.
What's the big difference between life in Kelowna and life in Montreal?
Well, Kelowna is just a place. I don't want to badmouth it.
No,
but I also don't want to goodmouth it because it's a terrible place.
It's becoming a recurring theme in my podcast. People are coming to Montreal because where they are from, it just happens to be some terrible place they're looking to escape.
It's so beautiful there, and they've got just such a nice lake, and it's like dry heat where you don't sweat from walking, and the worst people and city planning, and not all the people, but you know. There's a type.
Are you a self-hating Kelownian?
I am. I hate.
Oh, wow.
I don't like that I'm from Kelowna at all.
I hope our Kelowna listeners will forgive Scott for his self-hatred.
I think they know my stance on Kelowna. I was the guy that was leaving, like giving them the finger from the train, like Trudeau did from Vernon.
Did you take a train across Canada to get here?
No. If I did, my cat would have never made it.
No,
he would have killed me long before.
Did you not? Did they not sell cat medication in Kelowna?
I think they did. I don't really know how to be responsible at things. So my cat was just scared on a plane.
What? So recently, so you performed at a show recently, and your folks came all the way from Kelowna to Montreal. And they saw you do stand-up.
They did.
Was that a weird thing? Because my folks haven't seen me do stand-up yet. What's the deal with that?
They really liked me.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like it was good for me because I did all right that night, and they got to see me not be terrible at it, and realize that like their son's not wasting his life, and yeah, it's been I've kind of effed things up several times. Like, just a history of it. It's just been 10 years of like, oh, Scott screwed up again. And then, so now they're like, oh, he's really committing to something, and he's all right. But,
so it's a step in the right direction as well.
Yeah, they're like, we're somewhat proud of our son for once. It's nice.
Pride, there's so few parents who are proud of their children who end up going into stand-up comedy.
They're wonderful people. They've always been proud of me. I don't want to say that. I love them so much.
They're also wonderful for being proud of you. There's no doubt about it because, as I think we can all attest, it's something that's a lot of fun. We love doing it. And why should our parents crap all over our dreams, right?
It's true. It gets heavy when you hear these people are getting their parents like telling them to stop doing comedy and grow up.
Stop doing drugs. Stop, leading a bad life. Do positive things with your life.
Go back to school.
Make a difference in the world.
Anyway, work at Chapters.
This is what stand-up comedy is about. Everyone avoiding responsibility. No, it's great. It's great. It's a lot of fun so far. And what's something that since you moved to Montreal that you really will not ever want to ditch? Like once you've been here, you've had it here. You're like, I can't move back to where I'm from or anywhere else because Montreal has a certain something.
Drinking in parks?
Yeah, okay. You can't drink in parks in Kelowna?
No, they're really like Kelowna and Vancouver. They don't really like you to be drinking anywhere outside of like bars. Even in bars in Vancouver, they don't like you to be drinking there either. They don't really like you having fun in Vancouver.
Why do you think that is?
They have like the biggest hippie mayor ever, who just, I think he wants to abolish fun because it might be bad for people. And Gregor Robertson, he's a good guy.
All right. We're going to get this off right to his office. Maybe try and get him for an interview for a counterpoint for this podcast. So where have you been? Where have you traveled other than across Canada?
I've I haven't even really been anywhere in Canada. I still haven't gone to Toronto. Like Toronto's like
no big deal.
Mythic place that I'll never go to.
Reese is from Toronto. Our guest, Kristen Sarah, is from Toronto. We can talk about Toronto a little bit after and what you're not missing. Where have you been?
I've been like all through Europe. I guess like I've been like the Dominican to like resorts because I got lazy and just wanted to go to a resort for a while and get drunk for like a week. But I went through Europe a lot, like to Eastern Europe mostly.
Where in Eastern Europe? Because it's a fun place.
Yeah, like I went through like the Czech Republic and then through like Hungary and like did Budapest and then Győr, I think is the other city I went to in Hungary. And this is like 10 years ago now. But and then I went through Serbia, which was just a blast in Serbia. Oh man, was
it good times back then?
Oh, it was. There was bullet holes still in all the buildings. Half of Parliament was burnt down. It was I got a hotel room, and somebody tried to break into it in the middle of the night. So I was like standing there in like my underwear with an ashtray in my hand, waiting for someone to get in. Like, I'm gonna hit him with an ashtray. This is all I've got.
And did he manage to force his way in, or did he give up?
No, he just gave up because apparently he wasn't a good lock picker.
Was there anything to steal in there?
No,
absolutely nothing.
Me? Yeah. I would have been sold into some sort of weird sex slavery, I think.
Wow.
Very handsome. I'm very handsome.
He's not saying that Serbia has a sex slave trade. He's saying that he is quite good looking.
Yes. Anyone would want to sell me into it.
I was going to ask, was beginning of my next question, was there a funny story from when you're traveling? So you kind of took that right out of my mouth. So maybe it's time we just kind of bring on our guest, or we're going to give her a call in a couple minutes. I met her at a travel blogger conference, if you can even fathom such a thing.
I don't even understand how, like, that doesn't seem like people can confer about those things, like, that. People don't come together to travel blog, in my mind.
Why, in your mind, do they not come together to travel blog?
Because I didn't even think it was a community. I didn't even know there was travel bloggers.
There's tons of them, and it's really cool. There's a lot of different travel bloggers out there, kind of different angles, whether it's how to backpack on the cheap, how to party really hard, how to get laid when you're traveling, how to travel solo. There's so many different types of blogs, and we're going to have some of those people on this podcast over the coming weeks. And I met Kristen Sarah. She is a travel vlogger. I love that word, vlogger. She takes videos of all her travels and gives you guys some good advice. So we're going to have her coming back after this.
Here I go, falling down, down, down. My mind is a blank, my head is spinning around. Go deep into the funnel of love.
All right, you ready to go? Good. So, hey everyone, welcome back. We're here with Kristen Sarah, joining us from where are we calling you at?
I'm in Toronto.
Oh, exotic.
Exotic.
Very exotic.
We were just kind of having some discussion on the previous segment about Toronto. I lived there for a while. Scott has never been to Toronto.
Never tried it.
A fantastic city. You have to come visit.
I'm a big Blue Jays fan. It makes no sense why I've never been there.
And Reese, our producer, is from Toronto, yet there's this whole chime of negativity towards Toronto, which is kind of unwarranted because I lived there for a while. It's totally a great
It's
time.
kind of the Montreal way.
That's the way we are here. That's true. We don't love to praise Toronto, but at the same time...
24 years. Just saying. I lived there for 24 years. I didn't like it too much.
I lived there for a while. It's a good town. It's different from Montreal. That's the bottom line. So Kristen Sarah is joining us. Kristen, how's it going?
It's going great.
Good. Why don't I met you at TBEX, the big travel blogger conference.
Yeah.
And Scott is chuckling because, as I think him and I both agreed, a travel blogger conference can be perceived as an absurd thing, but it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of people I had been following for years and never met in person. We were just internet friends, so that was pretty cool. And everyone's pretty adventurous and outgoing, so it was a good weekend.
No, there's tons of good people. There's tons of good food, and
You got to get a lot of good swag there.
Oh yeah, no, actually not really.
Have you played with your free frisbee?
No, I kind of tossed everything.
Yeah, I understand.
I didn't really find anything that they gave us useful, and I tend to not keep things that I don't use. So.
Oh, so it was a conference.
Your boa that they gave us at the celebrity look-alike contest, you did not hold on to that?
Oh yeah.
Well, when I met you, you were dressed up as Katy Perry. I was dressed up in my Elliot Gould costume.
Yourself, yes.
Exactly. There wasn't too much prep or work needed for that. But I met you there, and you told me what you're up to. Why don't you elaborate a little bit on what you're doing in the world of travel?
All right. Well, I have a blog called Topscotch the Globe. It's almost 3 years old, actually, at the end of this month, and I started off writing mostly about adventure travel, and now I have, in the past year, turned just to mostly video. And then I write for other outlets as well. But my website is dedicated to adventure travel videos, and try to incorporate some comedy in there too. So I'm not just giving people information, but I'm also doing it in an entertaining way, so that they watch my whole video. Because if it's not capturing their attention while they're learning, then they're going to stop watching it, right? So I try to add that comedy factor into it. Basically, I travel around the world. I film my videos. I edit them. I host them. So I run it all by myself. And I'm also an actress. So that's kind of why I went more into video, because I wanted to incorporate my passion for acting as well as my passion for travel and put them together. And it's been going really well.
We have so much in common. That's why comedy and travel goes really well together.
Yes.
You're marrying the same. The only difference is I am trying to make travel and comedy kind of one thing, both of which pay absolutely nothing. And I'm trying to figure out how to make that my livelihood. But acting actually pays, right?
Yeah, if you're lucky. And you persevere and just keep working hard at it. Absolutely. That's like anything now.
Well, comedy pays, I got $30 once.
Once?
It was awesome. It was,
in beer?
A lot. That's like 3 Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, that was incredible. That was like the best week of my life.
And I was watching some of your videos, and you go to so many countries, and your life looks like the exact opposite of the life of a stand-up comic. Like, you're out there in the world talking to happy people, and
I might make it to like Utica once or somewhere like that. Like maybe I'll get to Saratoga Springs, like travel the upper part of New York.
burgeoning comedy scene there. Burgeoning comedy scene. No, but it looks really cool what you're doing. How many countries have you been to now?
Over 25. And then some of them I've been back to more than once. And then I've stayed for long periods of time in others and volunteered in other ones. So, yeah, I think I've spent a few years in total, I guess, traveling.
So where have you lived?
I've lived in Paraguay, in India, in Thailand, and in Ghana.
Those are very disparate places.
Yes.
All the places I thought of living.
Paraguay sounds interesting. Like I never meet anybody who even travels to Paraguay, let alone lives there for a while. What were you doing in Paraguay?
That was actually my first, I say, real trip, because it was not at a resort. It was I was 18 years old. I just turned 18. It was my first trip away from my parents by myself. It was for 4 months, and it was through my high school. It was an exchange program. So I was there living with a host family and teaching English in schools where there was a lot of underprivileged children. And it was incredible because for that reason, why there's no other tourists there. So I was really immersed in the culture, and I came home speaking Spanish, dreaming in Spanish, because I had to speak it and I didn't know any before. Like, I knew like the basic hello, how are you? I have to go to the washroom, I'm hungry, but that was all I knew going to Paraguay, and I came back 4 months later, like, functionally fluent.
4 months? I've lived in Quebec for like 2 years. I don't even know how to say hello in French.
Oh, either do I. I'm supposed to. But
My parents,
Well,
you know where my parents let me go where I was 18?
where?
Nowhere. Just to go to school, come home, back and forth. So that's awesome that you got to do that at that time.
Yeah, my parents have always been supportive of everything I've done, which I'm lucky for. And yeah, and then I've been back to Paraguay one other time since. It's a great country, but it's more of there's not so much to see as other countries. Like there's, I guess, typical tourist sites. But that's why I really liked it too, because you're just really you become part of the culture there.
Yeah, and you don't have to see exciting tourist destination after tourist site, I should say, after another. Sometimes it's just good to see the way people live and kind of
That's
do
exactly
things.
what I love.
Yeah, it's fun. So out of all the countries you've been to, which has been, shall we say, the funniest, and why?
The funniest.
Yes.
Oh.
Because some countries have inherent comedy built into them very unironically, like they don't even know it.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. I guess that kind of is the same of which country is most interesting. Like, it's so interesting that you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Well, we just want to know which is the funniest.
India.
Yeah, do tell why.
Because, can I swear?
Yeah, of course. This is a podcast.
Because you're always like, what the fuck is going on here? It just makes, there's just so much contrast, and it makes no sense. And then and you're just like trying to figure out why people are doing things the way they're doing them, and it makes it funny because you're just so confused. But that's what makes India so interesting and so intriguing.
I've always dreamed of going there because of my dream to ride every animal that I think could crush me, and an elephant's one of them.
Oh yeah, you can definitely do that there.
What's the big mind fuck in India? Like, what are the things that you see or do that just kind of make you go, what the fuck?
Everything. It's just because everything's such a contrast. Like, you can see like the most beautiful like thing in front of you, and beside it is just like the most disgusting, ugliest. It's so hard to wrap up into one sentence. It's just it's one of those places where you can't understand exactly what I'm saying unless you go and experience it for yourself. Honestly, it's just really difficult to explain.
Scott, you book the tickets, all pack bags. Reese, call the cab. Let's go, everyone. That's our next podcast.
Do you think you could get a ticket to India for like $35? My bank account's a little bit less than that. But
He only has 17 left from that stand-up gig that he did last week.
Yeah.
We're all broke is the point. No, but it's something that's on my list. I just know at the moment I get there and land, I will be sick, and I will run out of Dukerol within the first day or two.
No, I never got sick. I was gone for 10 months that trip, and that's five and a half, I think it was, I spent in India, and I never got sick the entire time.
I get sick when I cross the street. Like I have a problem. Every country I go to, I kind of get ill. Full disclosure: Israel, Turkey, Nicaragua, Panama was the one I did not get sick. Brazil, I got sick. Argentina, I got sick. If it's not Europe or North America, I get sick there.
That used to happen to me first week, I'm deathly ill. This has happened in a lot of countries. As soon as I went that 10-month trip, I went for a week in England, and then Iceland, and then spent 3 months in India. And from the beginning of that 3 months, I became a vegetarian just because there was no meat, and I started talking to other people who were vegetarians, Indian locals, as well as other tourists.
It's a very vegetarian country.
And it just kind of happened, and I never went back to eating meat, and I never got sick once.
I ate salad in Turkey, and that's what caused it.
Really?
Yeah, they always say don't eat all kinds of fresh vegetables that are washed in the local water.
Yeah.
Just it's a bacteria thing. It's like our bodies react differently. But I digress. Have you had any trouble filming any of your travel blogs in any particular countries? Was there any situations that you guys were trying to do something, you had a great idea, and some locals for whatever reason just kind of got in the way, or some authorities, anything like that?
Well, there's just situations where I know that I shouldn't be filming. Like at night, I'm not gonna, because I shoot all my own stuff. It's very, if there's a shot that I need of someone else to do it, I kind of just give it to anyone that's there, and hopefully they can take a nice shot. But mostly it's me, so I will not bring my camera out at night in sketchy areas, because it just doesn't make sense. I'm just gonna make myself a huge target. And also, I've been in situations where there's For example, I was going to an Indian wedding in the middle of the desert in Rajasthan, and I wanted to film the whole thing, but there were parts like when the guy that we were with, this Indian drummer, turned around and was like giving what's called bang, which is from the female marijuana plant to everyone, and I just didn't want.
I know that.
He's a well-known drummer, and I didn't want him to be on camera doing that because I didn't know if that was acceptable. You know what I mean?
No, we have no clue what you mean on this podcast. Actually,
I'm proud of myself.
no, we're never really sure what's acceptable and what's not on this podcast, so we're still trying to figure it out. But and do you recommend people going to India as a first travel destination?
If you want to be completely taken out of your element, and yes, and I would say yes, but that's a toughie, because if you can travel through India, you can travel anywhere.
Yes.
So if you want to just take yourself and put yourself in like the most ridiculous country and get ready for culture shock and like you're ready for that, then sure, why not?
We're going to be right back after this to wrap up our interview with Kristen Sarah, so hang tight. We'll be back in a minute. You recording? Good. So we are back with Kristen Sarah and Scott Carter, our guest host for the week.
Hi.
Scott, have you ever done any Indian drumming?
I do quite a bit of Indian drumming, actually.
Do you go to Tams every week?
Oh, for other reasons. For other reasons, I'm around the Tams.
Every week there's a big drum circle in Montreal called the Tam Tams. Happens every Sunday at Park Montreal.
I watch the LARPers only. I'm there for the LARPing.
The live action role players. There's guys with swords every week. I think that's going to make it somehow into every podcast I do, because it's the most obvious thing to talk about in Montreal is the live action role players. They're dudes with medieval battle gear and swords, and they are just imagining that they're fighting each other. It's one of the more bizarre things we've ever seen.
Oh, it's fantastic.
If you should definitely come to Montreal at some point and check out the LARPers. It's kind of interesting just doing it in the summer. So where are you going to next?
Actually, I was just confirmed going to Curacao next month.
I don't even know where that is. I think it's off in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just above Venezuela.
Okay, and what's there?
I'm going to be taking part in a film festival. So it's like, it's basically the company that I'm doing it with, they give you $200, they give you a car, and you go out and you have a day to film a crazy video and edit it together, and then there's a big film festival, and then there's a winner that's selected.
Amazing. And how did you find out about these guys?
It's a PR company that contacted me, and they're actually at T-Rex too. Diamond PR, and I went to Puerto Rico with them and Mexico. So I've done some work with them in the past, and yeah, they're great. They're absolutely great.
And where, coming back to what I was asking you earlier, where's a great place? Someone's never, looking to kind of get their hands, maybe a little bit, do something a little bit more off the beaten track, something that's not quite Europe, not quite North America. Where would you recommend that people go check out?
Like an easier backpacking trip?
An easier, hard backpacking trip.
I guess, does budget matter?
Yeah, sure.
I think Peru is a fantastic country.
Explain.
There is so much to see and do there. You got the mountains, you got the lake, you got the Amazon. It's got everything. The people are beautiful. It's reasonably priced, so you don't really need a lot of money to travel around and eat well and stay in nice accommodations.
Do you get lots of guinea pigs there?
Pardon?
Do you get to eat lots of guinea pig there?
I have tried guinea pig there. It was actually really good.
I also like to eat all the cutest animals I can find.
Yes. An alpaca. Oh, yeah.
He doesn't
Really good.
He doesn't really look like a monster. He just sort of speaks like one occasionally.
I kind of look like one, too.
A little bit, fair enough.
I'm very hairy, and
He has a beard and a woolen toque on a day like today.
Oh, God.
it's nice. I like a nice stream of sweat everywhere on my body.
So I don't know if we got a story out of you, but like, what's been the crazier stories that's happened to you while trying to film some of these interesting videos? You end up in a country, you say, we're going to make a video, and something just goes horribly awry, or you get prevented from...
Well, actually, this is another story from India. I was about to take a 4-hour bus ride or I was on actually a 4-hour bus ride from one city to another, and I took a chicken bus. Like they basically pack the bus with a bunch of people, as many people as possible, because they want to make more money. So it's sweaty, you're sweaty, it's so hot, you have a bunch of people beside you. There's probably like, when a seat can fit like 2 people, they fit 4, you know?
Yep.
So I wanted to film the trip up there, like just the scenery and whatever. But as soon as I got on the bus, I had to go to the washroom right from the beginning. And the bus driver is like, we're not stopping, basically. He barely spoke English. And so I was like, okay, this is 4 hours. If I don't think about it, maybe I'll get through this. And an hour goes by, and I really gotta go.
Did you have your pee funnel?
Pardon? No, I didn't have one then. That's why I got one.
We were going to segue to that. We'll talk about that video after, definitely.
So basically, I could not hold it. You know, when you have to go so badly, and there's someone or something preventing you from going, like, you just, like, I wanted to kill myself.
Like a moving bus.
So much pain, and like, you will think of, like, I will do anything to go to the washroom right now.
Sometimes you just do it.
That I can go in. I didn't have a water bottle, because I drank all the water, which is why I had to go to the washroom. And I was thinking, okay, what do I have? What can absorb this? I had a pair of socks, and I was like, well, maybe I can stuff this in my pants and attempt to go in it, because I was so desperate. So forget about filming now. I'm more concerned of, like, how the hell am I going to go to the washroom, because this guy's not stopped. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't go over, like, mind over matter. It just wasn't happening. I eventually was, like, yelling at the bus driver, like, you need to stop, I have to go. So he did, and I grabbed one of my bags, left the other one on the bus, and ran to the washroom, and as I was coming back, the bus was pulling away. My scarf flew off, and another local grabbed my scarf and was chasing after me, and I was chasing after the bus, and I eventually jumped on the bus, and the other local with my scarf was running beside the bus, and I grabbed that from him, and it was successful, but that was a crazy, crazy experience.
The moment you said that you were going to try to forget about the fact that you had to pee right before the bus was about to take off, I said this does not end well at any point.
No, but it was a good story.
So is that how you ended up discovering the pee funnel?
Yes.
So tell us about the pee funnel in your video.
Okay, so I bought, for exactly that reason, what's called a freshette. It's like the Sheely, which more people are familiar with. It's a female urinary device. So it's a funnel with a tube that you put in your pants, and you can pee like a guy. It's great.
Well, we guys have no urinary devices that allow us to...
I have one that actually gets me to pee like a girl.
Us females don't really get that opportunity, so I'm glad that someone came out with this.
Well, we're on a bus too, and the bus driver doesn't want us to. You're a girl; he might be willing to stop for you. We're just dudes. Like,
but you can get away with going somehow, like in a bottle. It's just not possible for a female. So if I was in that situation again, I would have taken out that empty water bottle and found a way, like put a scarf over my lower half, and found a way to just go in the bottle using that too. Sounds crazy, but you gotta go.
I don't understand the logistics of that myself.
Well, Scott, maybe you and I, what Kristen's telling us.
I'm not familiar with the bottom parts of a lady. Also,
well, in that video, I show exactly how to use it, and I actually go in a moving vehicle. So
you also peed standing up, which was really impressive.
I did. It was great, clean, and effective. It's great.
Great job.
I get everywhere now.
Great job.
So now we're telling people on the internet to watch the video for peeing.
Yes.
Yes, please.
And not just that guys everywhere should start carrying around empty water bottles for the same reason. You're encouraging equal urinary rights between the sexes. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Good. So hey, why don't you tell everyone where they could find your videos, where they could find everything about you, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/hopscotchtheglobe. And I post all my videos there, as well as on my website, www.hopscotchtheglobe.com.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Great. Kristen Sarah, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll hopefully speak to you another time.
All right.
Cheers. Thanks.
As I was walking down Rubber Square,
We are back just to wrap things up. This kind of time of the podcast, I always like to ask my co-host for the week, Mr. Scott Carter. We always ask a co-host what they love in Montreal, what they think people should go check out while they're here. What's your recommendation?
I guess it would be Sparrow. Sparrow's a bar and sort of eatery, I guess. I think they serve food. I've never had food there.
They do have food.
Okay, I know it's a bar. I drink there. It's expensive comparatively to where I usually get liquor, but there's lots of really very, very pretty people there, and I stare at them, and I'm very creepy. And
So
I'm
you're
sorry in advance to everyone at Sparrow.
So you're willing to pay extra for the right to creep people out.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. Listen, thanks so much for taking the time to co-host this episode.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So just a couple other things, guys. Our guests from week 1 and 2, respectively, Shane Adamczak and John Bennett, checked out their Fringe plays. Both were awesome. And John Bennett's going to be back at Just for Laughs. He's going to be taking part in Zoo Fest. You go see him in Pretending Things Are a Cock. Yes, that's exactly what that's the name of his production, Pretending Things Are a Cock. Just rounding up the next few weeks at Stand Up at the M. So I put on a stand-up show every Thursday here in Montreal at 1245 Rue Saint-André at a place called M Bar. It's the world's sexiest hostel bar. Coming up on the 4th of July, we're actually going to be roasting America and Canada, and it's going to be headlined by Deanne Smith, who is American, and she is one of the most hysterical people in Canada. She'll be on our next episode, and it's going to be hosted by George Hamilton Braithwaite. We got some American and Canadian comics on that show. On the 11th of July, John Bennett is returning to headline our show, and on the 18th, Scott Carter is going to be performing. So you guys should definitely come check it out. It's 1245 Rue Saint-André, and it's pay what you can. We kind of like a $6 donation, but that would be awesome of you guys. It's a great show every week. We have some of Montreal's top headliners as well as fastest risers on the more amateur side of things. It's a really great show. There's a lot of funny people in this town. You guys can find us online at comedyhostel.com if you haven't found us there already. On Twitter, MTL Comedy Hostel. Same goes for Facebook. And this has been put on by the Mobcast Network. Reese, where can people find out about all the podcasts at the Mobcast Network?
Just go to www.themobcastnetwork.com.
And thank you to Reese Turner for putting this together. Guys, come back for the next episode. Thanks so much for listening.